Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so stepping into the Immortal Realm for the very first time can honestly feel a bit like staring at a giant, overwhelming blank canvas. It's huge, it's complex, and yeah, it can be a little intimidating to say the least. But today, we're going to eliminate that confusion entirely and map out a foolproof roadmap for your absolutely critical first hours of gameplay, making sure you start off incredibly strong.
So let's dive into this comprehensive survival guide. And the best part? This is derived straight from the official Shard documentation, meaning we're looking at the specific rules, lore, and mechanics governing this exact player-run server. By the end of this, we're going to transform you from a confused newcomer into a totally confident participant who's ready to make their mark.
We've got a lot of ground to cover, and we'll walk through your journey chronologically. We're going to start at the character creation screen with picking your profession, then tackle the new Haven start, lay out your first hour goals, figure out how to branch out, navigate the custom systems and guilds, and finally, and maybe most importantly, cover the pitfalls you definitely need to avoid.
All right, Section 1, picking your profession and starting strong.
Now, you might be wondering where to even begin, right? Well, your very first choice sets the tone for your entire early game. The contrast here is actually pretty stark. The warrior offers a really smooth, forgiving solo experience. It's perfect for learning the ropes because, well, you mostly just hit things and keep an eye on your health. The mage, on the other hand, it is incredibly punishing from skill levels 1 to 50. If you start as a mage without knowing what you're doing, you'll be constantly fizzling your spells, burning through really expensive magical regents, and quickly find yourself flat out of gold and stranded. So if you are entirely new to this world, do yourself a massive favor and pick the warrior. It's just the easiest route. You could also consider the paladin. They have these helpful self-healing chivalry spells that provide a fantastic safety net. Honestly, only roll a mage if you have previous game experience and already know how to manage your resources. Oh, and a quick pro tip, definitely avoid crafters as a literal first character. They are entirely dependent on fighters to gather their raw materials and gold, which makes for a super frustrating first day. But here is the absolute most crucial takeaway. Please don't let decision paralysis stop you from actually starting the game. Your starting profession is not a permanent life sentence. This game is entirely skill-based, meaning there are no rigid classes locking you in. You can train absolutely any skill on any character later on. So just pick what sounds fun right now, jump in, and remember, you can always pivot later.
Moving on to Section 2, the New Haven start, and your very first 10 minutes.
Okay, when you're creating your character, make sure you choose New Haven from the starting city list by hitting the T key. Trust me on this, if you accidentally pick Britain, you're going to have a painfully long, very dangerous walk ahead of you. Think of New Haven as your safe haven. It's located in the Trammel Facet, which is essentially a safe mirror world where player versus player combat is completely impossible. It's got everything you need: skill trainers, cheap, basic gear, and absolute protection while you learn the ropes.
So in your literal first 10 minutes, you just want to get your bearings. First, walk right up to a banker and physically type the word bank in chat to open your vault. Yeah, there are no fancy UI buttons for this here. Next, find the inn. It acts as a great rendezvous point to meet other players. Then take your starting gold down to the dock trainers and buy your basic skills up to level 30. Finally, grab the starter quests. You really want these because they pay out in time tokens, which is a special currency you'll desperately want later on for high-end rewards.
All right, Section 3, first hour survival goals and essential milestones. With those first 10 minutes out of the way, you're going to want to try and hit a few specific milestones. First, get your secondary skill to 30, and absolutely buy some sturdier replacement gear before your flimsy starter set inevitably breaks right in the middle of a fight. Second, stash everything valuable in the bank immediately. Listen closely here. When you die in this game, your entire inventory scatters right to your corpse for anyone or anything to just walk up and take. Lastly, take a second to read the help menu. Keep in mind that this shard uses bracket prefixes for commands, so you'd type bracket help instead of the usual forward slashes you might be used to in other games. Your main overarching goal during this first hour is hitting 50 in your primary ability. 50 is the magic number, guys. It's what lets you graduate from basic, barely scraping by survival to actual adventuring. And you can hit this rapidly. You can fight rats as a warrior, safely cast at practice dummies as a mage, or mine surface ore as a crafter. Once you hit 50, you'll stop failing at your basic tasks and a whole new game essentially opens up for you. Section 4. Branching out and choosing your path. So, after that first hour, you've survived the tutorial phase, and it's time to choose your path forward out in the wider world. If you're playing a fighter, you're going to want to stay in New Haven until your skill hits 70 before heading out to mid-tier cities like Britain, Vesper, or Trinsic. Mages, however, just need to hit that magic 50. Why? Because 50 unlocks Recall. It's a spell that lets you use magical runebooks for instant fast travel all across the map. It's a real game changer. Meanwhile, crafters can safely start mining the iron-rich mountains just north of New Haven to start building up their wealth. Next up, Section 5, Guilds, Custom Systems, and Finding Your Tribe. You know, this game is inherently a really social experience, and finding a guild via the Shard's official Discord is going to make your second week infinitely easier. Joining a guild gives you a reliable group to tackle the harder content, plus you get access to pooled resources like shared housing and guild banks. But honestly, most importantly, it gives you a safe, friendly space to just ask, hey, is this normal without feeling silly? Trust me, you're going to have a lot of questions, and the community genuinely loves answering them.
As you really start to settle in, you'll definitely want to engage with the Shard's custom layers because they add so much amazing flavor. Take the College of Courageance, for example. If your character happens to catch a strange in-game malady or sickness, this unique medical institution is exactly where you'll go for treatment. It features entirely hand-authored quests and these cool civic verbs, which are custom-typed commands like bracket, examination. It just makes the whole world feel incredibly alive, immersive, and distinct from any other server out there.
Finally, Section 6, Pitfalls to Avoid, and some crucial survival tips. To wrap things up, we really need to talk about the red flags that will completely derail your early progress. First, do not multi-client, which means playing multiple characters at once on different screens while you are still learning the basics. It's just way too overwhelming. Second, avoid buying wildly overpriced gear from computer-controlled NPCs. You always want to buy from player crafters for way better deals. Third, whatever you do, don't skip those highly profitable New Haven quests. And finally, absolutely do not wander into the Felucca facet, that's the lawless, PvP-enabled zone at 30 skill. Literally, you will be instantly killed and looted of everything you own. Just stick to Trammel for now, okay? Ask for help. Today. Now. Before you've grinded an hour into a wall. This quote right here from the veteran community really says it all. They genuinely want to help you succeed. So jump right into the new players Discord channel immediately. Ask your questions before burning hours of your valuable time doing things the hard way. There is absolutely no prize for suffering in silence. Well, you now have the roadmap. You know the essential milestones to hit, the awesome custom systems to explore, and the deadly mistakes to avoid. That blank canvas we talked about, it isn't overwhelming anymore. It's just waiting for your story. So the only question left for us today is, what kind of legacy will you build in the Immortal Realm?